Dayton City Commission meeting will now come to order. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. This morning, the invocation will be given by Commissioner Joseph.
Dear Lord, thank you for your many blessings. At the start of this day, we pray for your continued blessings. Please cleanse our hearts to help us live each day in close communion with you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so Mr. Beckham, please have the roll call.
Mayor Mims,
Aye.
Commissioners Joseph,
Aye.
Shaw,
Aye.
Fairchild,
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Okay, may I have a motion then to approve the minutes from the August 7th meeting?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second motion, Your Honor.
Probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the August 7th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Okay, Mr. Beckham, are there any communications or petitions?
There are none, Your Honor.
Okay. Then presentations. Yeah, I know we have two presentations this morning. So look at this. And I'd like to call on Mr. Beckham to provide an update on the Stephen Dayton Culture Works Workplace Campaign.
Thank you, Mayor. So today we'll be recognizing the department that won our Culture Works campaign. This year, the department that won was the planning department. So the award was a piece of art that Culture Works would sponsor from a local artist. And planning, the planning department won due to the fact that they had the most employees that gave the highest percentage in their department. So I'd like to invite Curtis Bowman and the artist Lori up to the podium to present the art. And as they come, I'd like to say I am speaking on this because I chaired the Culture Works campaign this year. Okay. Welcome, Curtis.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners, Mayor, Manager, I'd like to thank you on behalf of Culture Works for participating in the campaign. And this was Darius's very creative idea to not get coffee mugs or tote bags as a reward for giving, but to have original art in the offices of the city, which we really appreciate because it represents art in the community all year long, hanging on the wall. So I have the artist with me. This is Lori Dougherty and her beautiful work, Tangled, if you turn it around and show it to everyone. And the planning department earned this piece of artwork with their generous donations, and we'd like to express our gratitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you, Darius.
Okay. Thank you again for your presentation and for your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Dixon, I think you have the next presentation.
I'm not sure that I have a presentation this morning.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess it just makes us move a little quicker then. So, Mr. Beckham, then, do we have any additional deletions or comments to the calendar?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Dixon, do you have any additions, comments, or deletions to the calendar?
Your Honor, I have no additions or deletions to this morning's calendar. I do have one item I'd like to highlight. We have another investment brought to you by the Dayton Recovery Plan. Item B4 is an award of contract with L.J. DeWeese, which is a advancement of our curb and sidewalk repair program. You recall that that was a significant element of neighborhood investment that we utilized in the Dayton Recovery Plan, or that we allocated in the Dayton Recovery Plan. And this is for the Edgemont neighborhood. And this work joins work that's already been before you, which includes our South Broadway Street from Germantown Street to our southern corporate limits. We also have additional opened bids that are coming to the calendar soon, which will include the neighborhoods of Carillon, Twin Towers, Miami Chapel, and Old North Dayton. And out for bid, we have our contracts for Five Oaks and Wolf Creek, because those have already been before you. So we're excited about continuing this reinvestment in our neighborhoods. It's a major part of advancing health in our neighborhoods because it makes our neighborhoods more walkable for all. So that's all I have this morning.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Beckman, do we have any citizens who are registered to speak on the calendar items?
Yes, there are 4 citizens registered to speak on calendar items. I would like to state there is a 3-minute time limit. As you address the commission, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. At that time, I will turn on the green light. When the green light comes on, you will have 3 minutes to speak. After you have spoken 2.5 minutes, a yellow light will come on. You have 30 seconds remaining to speak. When the red light comes on, you will be asked to cease your comments and take your seat. To the audience in attendance, please be mindful this is a business meeting, and we kindly request that during this portion of the meeting you refrain from any hand clapping, finger snapping, or conversation that would prevent the City Commission from hearing your comments. I'd like to call to the podium Liz Early.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The name and address for the record, please.
Elizabeth Early, 1225 West Grand. I was here on last week, and I'm here again today speaking about the same thing, the transition homes. Just on yesterday, I drove around my community, and I'm finding that there's 3 other homes that's being constructed for transition homes. My community, once again, is dying. And it has had a personal effect on me because last year I woke up to a man standing over my bed. Our community is being beat up with other people's problems. Not to say that these people don't need a place to stay, but it's too many in our community. On yesterday, a friend of mine, Donald Dominic, called me and said, it just happened to them this past weekend. We have to do something now. We must do something now. We must save our city. Our youth has gone aloof. We need programs. It is our responsibility, and it's really our fault. We have closed up all of the community projects that these children are no longer able to access, or they have to go to Troy or Cincinnati. Dayton has changed the world. We are the innovators of this country, and we have problems that we can fix and solve today. These things need to be taken care of today. I really appreciate being here and able to speak my truth, because it's scary living in my community, having senior citizens. Kids can't go to the park, our beautiful park that we all just fixed up and had our Juneteenth. But now, if you go look at it now, it's tore up because the savory people are using it and not our youth. So I'm here again asking, let's do something immediately. And what are we going to do about the homes that are already there, and not the ones that are already applied for applications? I guess that's through the planning department. You know, we still need to be notified. We need to be notified of what is going on in our community, because it is not a residence anymore. It has now become a commercial community where everybody is making great big money, and none of it is coming back in our community. And the people that own these homes don't even live in our community. And they're asking us to police them. And I'm a little tired of it. You know, so how many of us have to really get hurt? How many of us have to keep trying to keep our property values? I've been there since 1965. So I've watched the changes, and it doesn't look good.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I'd like to call to the podium William Peterson. Name and address for the record, please.
William Peterson, 153 Squirrel Road. Thank you, Commissioners, Mayor, and City
First of all,
Manager.
good morning. Sorry.
Good morning. My name is Will Peterson. I'm with the Dayton Area Youth Group Home Association. Our mission is simple yet profound. We are unwaveringly committed to providing quality care, delivering quality programming, ensuring transparency, and fostering collaborative efforts with the City of Dayton, Dayton Police, Dayton City Medical Services, Dayton Public Schools, and Juvenile Court to address the urgent concerns regarding our youth in group homes. But today, I'm not here just to talk about commitment. I'm here to share with you all our deep desire to be a part of the solution. We believe that together, we can ensure that the children we care for are not seen as a burden on our city resources, but rather as young lives deserving of the best care and opportunities for a brighter future. Our direct care staff are highly trained. They are dedicated individuals who undergo rigorous training before ever stepping onto a shift. This includes 40 hours of specialized training in areas such as trauma-informed care, de-escalation techniques, supervision, and crisis management. And every year, they continue their education with an additional 24 hours of training because we understand that the needs of these children are ever evolving. The kids come to us broken, often by unimaginable trauma. Many of them have been deemed unadoptable because of the severity of their experiences and behaviors that result. We care for children who have suffered sexual abuse, been sold into sex slavery, endured severe physical abuse, or lost their parents to drug overdoses. These are the most marginalized of our society. Children who, because of their trauma, exhibit behaviors like sexualized actions, habitual running away, abnormal reactions to normal requests, manipulative behaviors, and even smearing feces. But let me be clear. We do not see these children as as their behaviors, as who they are. We see them as cries for help, as evidence of the profound hurt that they carry, and that our direct care staff are devoted to their safety and well-being. When a child runs away, we have to follow mandates from the county and the Ohio Administrative Code by immediately contacting Children's Services and law enforcement, not just because it's required, but because we know that the dangers these vulnerable kids face. We are actively working with law enforcement and our association to develop better efficiencies and protocols when children go missing because we believe in continuous improvement. In closing, I want to publicly thank Mayor Mims, Darius Beckham, Police Major Jason Hall, Dayton Children's for their partnership and support, because together we can make this situation better for the kids, their futures, and our community. Thank you.
Okay, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson.
Appreciate your comments. I think one of the challenges that we have is that the high number, excuse me, that we have in the Montgomery County, and we are higher than anyone else, in particular in Dayton and West Side, higher than anyone else in the state of Ohio. The information that you read is really right on point in terms of having group homes and having young people who have these needs. The challenge that we have is that there's a high level of saturation that we have as far as the community is concerned.
Yes, sir.
And one of the reasons why I called for that meeting was to talk with owners of group homes to see if we can try to find some solutions, and we're still in that process.
Yeah.
As we work through that process is one of the reasons why we're looking for maybe a little bit of a slowdown, if you will, pump the brakes for a bit to have some additional time to review what we can do to find ways of making sure we can benefit the young people and certainly support the owners of the group homes, as well as not oversaturate our community with services that we have that was for, 139,000 people?
Agreed.
And we're trying to service some additional ones where the numbers may not seem like a lot, but when they're concentrated, it makes it more challenging.
And we would like to be a part and be at the table in that process.
Okay. All right. So thank you again.
Thank you
for your comments.
I'd like to call to the podium William C. Roberts II. Name and address for the record, please.
William Roberts, 3567 Wells Drive.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor Mims and city commissioners and Mr. Beckman. Not to belabor things, but just to reinforce that I hope we don't take a myopic approach to a complex situation with the youth in the group homes, because it's easy to target one area without looking at the entire system. Hopefully Dayton can create a national model on how to be successful at this, but you can't do it without us at the table and hearing the whole problem. You being an educator, I know that you care for youth, and you actually, when I was in the 4th grade, you just started teaching, and you've always been one of my role models. So I'm just hoping as you consider this, you hear the whole problem, and we can come up with some solutions, just like we did with our substance abuse problem when we were leading the nation in overdoses. We came up with some collective impact model for a solution that's been very effective, and I believe that we can do the same if we can look at the entire system and make some changes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
I'd like to call to the podium Tasha Roundtree. Name and address, please.
Tasha Roundtree, 4609 St. James Avenue. Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners, Department
Morning.
Head, City Manager. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Fred Stovall and his team for coming in and continually helping me with the Little Eden Park. At this time, the 26 residents that we had living in the park, we are down to about our last 4. We were able to get them into dual diagnosis centers like the Nova House, Choices, Crisis. Some of the problem that we're having is we have churches and organizations who are bringing people in from out of town, from Columbus, from Cleveland. So if we start off with 26 people, we cannot combat this problem without addressing who is bringing some of these people in to use our resources. So it keeps looking like people are living in Little Eden Park, but these are actually new people who are seeking help because the last group that was there received help. They receive new clothes, they receive cell phones, they receive, I can't even admit that they receive food, so I'm gonna say allegedly, because it is illegal to feed homeless people in the city of Dayton. We have made poverty a crime. We are inflating group homes with transitional homes, with Airbnbs, so we are saying like, oh, this is the problem when it's not even them, it's this. We are not even looking at the reason we have so many homeless and the reason we have so many kids in homeless and in foster cares and in group homes is because of the opioid epidemic. So if we are not looking at the backfall of the opioid epidemic and how it affected, we had coolers of dead bodies here in the city of Dayton. So we have to think, where did those kids go when they have no parents? We have to think, when some of them OD'd and got evicted from their homes, where are they? When we have to think, why do we have so many women on the streets? They can't go to the VA. So what I would like to know is, we have a budget for the immigrants in the city of Dayton from the federal government. What is our budget for the homeless population? Because we no longer have a Dayton state. And some of these people, if we had to be correct, they had an IEP in Dayton Public Schools. They rode little buses with carpeted classrooms, and now they're adults that you expect to take care of themselves forever, when in fact they would have been in Dayton State and been lifelong residents at Dayton State. We have unhealed people on our streets, in our communities, and we expect them to act normal when they are not. We need to have them a safe, dignified place to stay. I'm not sure if that means we need to look at the budget and say, can we use this to work with House of Bread? Because after 1 o'clock, they stop feeding people. So if they stop feeding people at 1 o'clock, you all are asking them to fast for 24 hours until they can eat again. So I would like to work with the city to find out how can we feed these people and house these people so that they can get treatment without making poverty a crime and without punishing the kids. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Ms. Roundtree.
That is all.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments on the city manager's recommendations?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Mr. Turner-Sloss?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I would just like to say very briefly that I appreciate the law department as well as our planning and neighborhood development department bringing forth the emergency resolution, the legislation number 6813-24. With all that being said, in placing the temporary moratorium and understanding that there are a number of concerns around that, And I appreciate Mr. Peterson's, his comments as it relates to working together collectively and identifying a way forward. But as the mayor has already stated, and I just want to reiterate the reason and the purpose of us bringing this forth, because as you already heard, and you've only heard a piece of the concerns that we have been dealing with. We have been dealing with an overwhelming number of issues in our community, overwhelming number. And let me be clear with saying this, it is not an attack on the group homes, by no means. This is not an attack on the group homes. But as members of this elected body and as the city administration, we are charged with improving and enhancing the quality of life in the city of Dayton. And that is our commitment. And in doing so, again, I want to commend and thank the Planning and Neighborhood Development Department, the entire staff, as well as our law department. And so I am in support of this moratorium for us to have collective conversations as to how we address these issues. And again, it's all encompassing. It's a number of things that we're dealing with in terms of the transitional homes, the group homes. It is a number of things, the sober living homes, just on my block alone. And I live in Southern Dayton View. I have 5 on one block, 5. That comes with a number of other issues. My kids can't even play in the yard because of the concerns. I have 5 on my block, and then I have another 3 around the corner from me. So again, what are we doing to make sure that the city of Dayton is, in fact, all of our neighborhoods, all 65 of our neighborhoods, is inclusive, and that we are truly improving the quality of life? And so my concerns are, again, as the mayor has already stated, and I want to reiterate, the geographical distribution of the number of facilities that we're seeing, the living conditions, because some of them are inhabitable, the living conditions of some of these structures, and then again, the oversaturation. So I'm hoping that we can have a very fruitful and enlightening conversation. There was a meeting on May the 30th, and we had a number of partners that were here, a number of people that were able to address the questions that were posed. What is attracting so many owners, operators to the Dayton area? And as stated, we have 78 in Dayton alone, 78. And that's not counting the additional requests and those that are in the queue. So again, I just want to thank everyone. Thank you for bringing this forward to the staff. I'm in support of it. And thank you, Ms. Early, for your comments, and my apologies for your experience. That is very frightening to have to go through that and to witness that and not to feel safe in your own home. So I digress. I do have additional comments, but again, I just wanted to uplift and thank the staff for bringing this forth in the emergency resolution number 6813-24. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bradshaw.
Yeah, I had a couple questions, City Manager. The moratorium, can it be extended if we haven't gotten the solution we need in 180 days? Can we extend it?
Yeah, so that's with another action from the elected body.
Okay, awesome. And the group home, is that inclusive of the youth group homes, the transitional homes, the recovery homes?
It's all residential homes. So if you look at the language, it's as broad as possible, so it encompasses all group home facilities.
Okay, thank you. And to Mrs. Roundtree's question, we do have dollars that go to our homeless solutions. We have community development block grants, the dollars that go to there, as well as to individual providers throughout the community to assist people who are homeless. To the moratorium, Mr. Peterson, I'm thankful that you came, and I appreciate you starting with the well-being of children. I think that's central to my concerns and to the commission's and the city's concerns. Over the last 3-4 years, I've heard from nurses in the emergency department, mental health professionals, our own staff here who have taken a deep dive on this, workers with Montgomery County Children's Services, social workers, our police. I did a ride-along to see what they deal with the walk-offs, and being able to go and see some of the group homes. And I've heard from neighbors, and I heard from some of the children myself. And what I know is collectively we are not serving our children well. And there is a lot of opportunity for us to care for our kids, because some of these children are living in conditions, as Commissioner Turner-Sloss just said, that are unacceptable and doesn't do right by them in terms of our community and our society. Though in the oversaturation, and it just becomes big obstacles. So I'm glad you're willing to be part of the solution, because we've got to find a way to take care of these young kids in a way that's respectful and safe. So I welcome the moratorium, and I'm glad that there's people who are willing to join us to work for that solution.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shaw.
I have nothing. My colleagues covered it.
Okay. Mr. Joseph?
Same. I want to thank my colleagues for the comments. I agree. I'm glad we're moving forward, and I think that it's imperative that we work toward a solution and not just against something, and everything's set up to do that. I appreciate the mayor's extensive efforts so far to do that, and I think that we're moving that direction. I also want to say some mention of federal money for immigrants was made by our speakers. We don't get any money from the federal government for immigrants. I wish we did. We do not. But thank you. Just want to clear that up.
Okay, thank you. And just add just a little bit more on this particular issue. In that meeting that we've had prior to that meeting, actually we had conversations with some of our state legislators trying to find either additional money if we have additional students or young people in those spaces for additional services, including law enforcement. And we've been working on this for some time. We've had meetings with juvenile court. We've had meetings with the Sheriff's Department, and all those, including our DPD, to try to find ways of addressing these concerns. And again, as Mr. Peterson stated, that there are certain laws that require them to call the police when a young person is missing or does not show up at their home. And we cannot get around that. And it puts a burden on the law enforcement when they have to do that, especially if those young people are leaving at higher rates than what we anticipate. And we've seen in this community higher rates of car thefts, and many because some of the young people are residents of other counties. They will steal a car and they will drive back to the other county just to visit friends and family, and may come back later that day, the next day, or whatever the case may be. The other challenge that we have is trying to help the schools in terms of how they address the young people in schools when it's time for parent conferences that they have to monitor the success of young people, trying to have individuals who are reporting to school to help support that issue as well. You've all heard us talk a lot about the challenge that we have with youth violence and the things that we're dealing with that space. Was mentioned about Ms. Early about recreation. Now, while we put some things back in the place of recreation that we had some decades ago, we're still way behind in terms of doing that. So we haven't closed everything, and we're trying to do more and more because we find out that more and more recreational opportunities for our young people is a deterrent for some of the type of crime situations that we have. So again, I appreciate all of you for your comments and your thoughts, and reminding me of the gray hair that I have, Mr. Roberts. Appreciate that. Going back a bit, 4th grade, but thank you for your comments. Okay, so I take a motion then to approve the city manager's recommendations.
I make a motion to approve the city manager's recommendation.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve the city manager's recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay, legislation, please, Mr. Beckham.
First reading, emergency resolution number 6813-24, placing a temporary moratorium not to exceed 180 days on the acceptance and processing of applications for zoning, occupancy, conditional use, and/or building permit approvals for residential facilities, also known as group homes within the city of Dayton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Your Honor, being declared an emergency, I move for the immediate passage of resolution number 6813-24.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to have resolution number 6813-24 declared an emergency. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay.
Second reading, placing a temporary moratorium not to exceed 180 days on the acceptance and processing of applications for zoning, occupancy, conditional use, and/or building permit approvals for residential facilities, also known as group homes within the city of Dayton, Ohio. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioners Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
First reading emergency resolution number 6814-24, declaring the official intent and reasonable expectation of the City of Dayton on behalf of the State of Ohio to reimburse its Gettysburg Avenue Reconstruction Fund for the CD34Z / CD35Z Gettysburg Avenue reconstruction with the proceeds of tax-exempt debt of the State of Ohio and declaring an emergency.
Mayor, I move that we make Resolution 6814-24 an emergency ordinance, or resolution, emergency resolution.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you. It's been probably moved and seconded, and to have resolution number 6814-24 as an emergency. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
Second reading, declaring the official intent and reasonable expectation of the City of Dayton on behalf of the State of Ohio to reimburse its Gettysburg Avenue Reconstruction Fund for the CD34Z / CD35Z Gettysburg Avenue reconstruction with the proceeds of tax-exempt debt of the State of Ohio and declaring an emergency. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioners Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
First reading resolution number 6815-24, declaring the intention to appropriate real property interest in parcels 4T, 9T1 and T2, 18 SH and T, and 19 SH1, T1 and T2 in connection with the South Main Street reconstruction project. First reading resolution number 6816-24, declaring the intention to appropriate real property interest in parcels 15T, 16SH, 23T, and 26SH&T in connection with Wayne Avenue traffic calming project. First reading number 6817-24, declaring the intention of the Commission to vacate the southern portion of Buckeye Street at Wayne Avenue. That is all.
Yep, thank you. All right, Mr. Beckman, do we have any citizens who are registered to speak?
Yes, Your Honor. There is one citizen registered to speak. I would like to state there's a 3-minute time limit. As you address the commission, please state your name and address. At that time, I'll turn on the green light. When the green light comes on, you'll have 3 minutes. After 2.5 minutes, a yellow light will come on. You have 30 seconds remaining. When the red light comes on, you will be asked to cease your comments and take your seat. To the audience, please be mindful that this is a business meeting, and during this portion of the meeting, please refrain from any clapping, finger snapping, and conversation that would prevent the commission from hearing the speaker's comments. I'd like to call to the podium Carlo Hurd.
Carlo Hurd, 1485 Benson Drive, Dayton, Ohio, 45406.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. I was born and raised in West Dayton. I went to Walgaman Elementary, McFarland Middle School. I graduated from Dunbar High School. We lived on Clement, just 2 minutes walking distance from the DeSoto Bass projects where most of my friends live. Unfortunately for me, it was not uncommon to hear about violence or shooting, to know someone who had been shot. At the age of 15, I stood over the casket of my 16-year-old friend, Kenny Lenore, who had been executed in broad daylight in Summit Square. I've seen some things, I've done some things I'm not proud of that eventually landed me in prison, so I don't stand before you today as somebody who's innocent or righteous, but I stand this morning as someone who, by the grace of God, has made a change and who is committed to seeing a change take place in the community that I call home. I'm fully aware of the recent spike in violence and crime in my community, that which is seen on the news and that which goes unreported. I have no problem personally calling 911 to report a crime. Let me be clear, if I'm in trouble, I'm calling the police, and that alone speaks volumes when juxtaposed against my former lifestyle. The issue that I'm bringing this morning is that when police arrive on the scene, who we are expecting to de-escalate the situation in accordance with their training, they end up acting in the same manner as citizens who have no training at all. It shouldn't be that when officers are dispatched to break up a house party at an abandoned house that a 16-year-old child ends up dead. It shouldn't be, as more recent events have shown, that when officers are dispatched to investigate a possible mental health suspect who's trespassing, that they show up on the scene without, first of all, an officer that's trained to deal with the mentally ill. Can we sit here and say with a clear conscience that this officer exhibited good training by shooting a feeble, nearly 80-year-old man running in slow motion towards him with a Golden Corral steak knife, that he acted in proper training by shooting him? That's not training. Good training in the case of Brian Moody and now 77-year-old Otto Coleman would have been to use non-lethal force. Tasers are operable up to 22 feet. This is not something I'm suggesting would be a good idea. This is Dayton police policy that tasers should be used in situations where they need to deal with violent or dangerous individuals from a distance. The Dayton Police Department has endorsed the use of non-lethal chemical agents, tasers, non-lethal munitions to assist officers in handling violent or non-compliant suspects, or does that only apply to those who live in my community? Mr. Mayor, I'm appreciating what you're doing for the group homes. It reminds me why I voted for you. I'm just asking that you put forth the same energy and effort to police reform so that we can have a better relationship between the police and our community, and that they can be adequately trained to handle situations like this.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Thank you, Reverend Howard.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Dixon, any closing comments?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Excuse me, Mr. Beckham.
I have none, Your Honor.
No closing comments. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, closing comments.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I just would like to thank Culture Works for being here this morning. Thank you, Mr. Beckham, for your recommendation. Congratulations to the Planning and Neighborhood Department. And I also would like to thank Ms. Early. Thank you again for raising and providing your testimony and your support of the moratorium this morning. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. And again, I look forward to working with you as well as the other servicers and providers, as well as those who work in this space all together. And so with that, I do have a recommendation for my colleagues for us to entertain and move forward with a work session that we can have all of the community leaders, the operators, organizers that work in this space to have a collective conversation on how we can best move forward together while this moratorium is in place for the next 180 days. Mr. William C. Roberts, thank you, Thank you, sir, for being here as well, and thank you for your commitment to collectively work together as well. Ms. Roundtree, I appreciate your leadership, and thank you for all of your efforts in uplifting the work of Public Works and all of the continuous work that is being done to make sure that we maintain and clean up Little Eden Park off of North Broadway. And I just want to echo Commissioner Fairchild's comments in regards of our commitment to continuum of care, which is a collective model of a number of resources that we provide for homeless prevention and support services. And as noted, we are actually contributing over $600,000 a year. Again, that's over $600,000 a year that we contribute to make sure that we provide the necessary services, from Homeful to another, St. Vincent's de Paul, a number of other organizations, and we're working together. The other thing that I wanted to, and you and I can have a sidebar if necessary, but we do not criminalize feeding of the unhoused community, and actually this body is working collectively to make sure that we are addressing that issue in something that transpired a couple of months ago. So, but again, it is not a crime, and we're not criminalizing the unhoused, whether it's with the distribution of food, toiletries, or clothing. So you have our commitment in terms of knowing that there are a number of members in this community who are in fact vulnerable in need of support and services. I also, last but not least, I want to uplift the work of Public Works, the department. This was a very busy weekend, so shout out to our Public Works department, and also the number of organizations, community leaders that held back to school events, the McClendon Institute. They, in addition to Studio 801 with Ms. Tanisha Davis, They were providing haircuts, free hairstyles for the young ladies, book bags, school supplies, food, fruits and vegetables. The list goes on and on. Northwest Party Board, their annual community festival, as well as the Dayton Unite Human Rights organization that was held at McIntosh Park. And then we also had Do It Big for the Kids Back to School Bash that took place at Residence Park. Their park there on Sunday, there were a number, probably hundreds of kids that came out for Back to School Bash, where they also received free school supply and book bags. So again, I thank all of the community leaders, everyone that came out this weekend, and we just hope and pray that we all, our students, our administrators, our staff, have a safe, a prosperous, and successful school year. So again, I just wanted to uplift Dayton Public Schools and all of the work and moving forward in the 2024-2025 school year. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
Before I make my comments, I looked out and I see the University of Dayton Civic Scholars in the audience. I didn't know if you'd take a moment to recognize them.
Yes, sir. We will.
Okay, awesome. And I failed to mention that one of the things that we can do collectively is that Representatives Plummer and White have introduced House Bill 583. I don't think we've seen the specific language yet. They've kind of announced the intent. I suspect there's some lobbyists trying to undo any strength or teeth that legislation may have. So I encourage you to help lobby in the community to lobby our state legislature to put in legislation that will help hold group homes accountable and the standards that Mr. Pearson was talking about, the training that he provides his staff as well beyond the standards that the state requires. And so I want to draw attention to that.
Yeah, that's a result of our efforts thus far.
Yeah.
We'll stand on it.
Yep. And I invite others to join our work so we get a louder voice. I want to thank you, Mayor, for hosting the community conversation with Victory Project on, was that Tuesday night? And was that just Monday night.
Monday night.
They're running together. Monday night. So thank you for that and all the staff that came out for that. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, thank you for your comments and for those who came to speak. Ms. Roundtree, I want to thank you for your compassion and your hard work for those people in Little Eden Park. Very commendable, and so thank you for your care there. Mr. Hurd, thank you for coming and for your comments. I want to thank the Levitt Pavilion for bringing Ruthie Foster. She did not disappoint. It was an incredible concert and experience for those who came and attended. Commissioner Turner-Sloss, thank you for reminding people that school is starting. Dayton Public Schools starts tomorrow, and so be mindful as you're moving around the community of kids who are out walking and on buses and making their way to school, and invite people to be in prayer for the children and the parents and the staff and the teachers and principals and all who have the school year starting. And last weekend was a busy weekend. This coming weekend's a busy weekend. We have the African American Cultural Festival on Saturday and Sunday. We have Porch Fest in St. Anne's Hill on Saturday, and the Funk Festival down at the Levitt Center from, I think that's from 5:30 to 9 o'clock, is that right?
Correct.
So invite people to come out. A lot of opportunities to build community in our city.
Okay. Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, thank you for that. Really, just brief comments. Just wanted to acknowledge the passing of a dear friend and mentor to many of us, Mr. Richard Wright, a valued community leader for a very long time, and kind of one of the founders of Parity Inc., and a member who served on the Civil Service Board for a number of years. He will be missed. He had some great influence around here after he retired from General Motors, and just really valued his friendship and leadership. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much.
Nothing further, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just a few comments. A lot of good comments from our audience. I really appreciate that, because these issues are, while they're serious to you, they're also serious to us as well. The state, because the Ohio Mayor's Alliance wrote a letter to the governor, and I'm part of that group as well, concerned about the uptick in violence that we have in our cities.
And as a result of that, the governor did respond and have a meeting with him shortly after I leave this meeting in Columbus to talk about some of the kinds of things that we're addressing. Some of those things will include data collection. Some of those things will also include how we make it a crime, if you will, for those individuals who have weapons stolen and they do not report that those weapons are stolen. So we can have a better database, if you will, to link those weapons to other crimes across the city or across the nation, if that be the case. Additionally, we're looking for additional support in terms of technology so we can stay up on the kinds of technology that police are using across the nation to address crime issues. Also looking at additional support for research to find out what type of things actually work to deter violence and what type of things work on a long-term basis, and also what type of things can go in place to help talk about ways that we can prevent young people from developing habits that will sometimes lead them into crime as they get older. And you've heard us talk about this before because we've addressed these issues with our violence interruption program that we're in the process of putting in place and preparing our RFP for that process as well. Simultaneously, yesterday, the U.S. Marshals Association met with law enforcement around this area. And they met here in Dayton, not because we asked them to. They just playing there because Dayton's a great place to be. But the aspect of looking at ways that they can address crime across the nation, because we have had an increase in crime across the nation over the last couple of years, especially in some of the large cities. And I think even though our crime has been down, if you look at our stats over the last 5 years, there are things that are happening in other cities that are far worse than where we are right now here in Dayton. But it means that we're trying to stay ahead of the game, if you will, by doing the type of work that we're doing. I would also like to mention the fact that DPS had their, which is our largest school district in the area, in the city, had their convocation yesterday and was kicked off with a great set of comments from their board president, as well as one of their former students, not former students, but current students, and also the superintendent about the whole aspect of valuing the young people and putting them in a position to be successful. So I want to ask now our UD visitors to please stand up so we can give you all a round of applause and thank you for being here. Okay, this is the second visit I've had from you guys, and I'm thinking maybe a week or 2 weeks, not you in particular, but I had another group was here, and I had a chance to spend about an hour with them, and they asked me a bunch of questions, everything from what I did when I was born to why I wanted to be a mayor. So I had a bunch of answers, too. Some of the answers I didn't have, I just made some up. But it was just great to be here. Great to see you as well. Great to see you as future leaders as far as the city of Dayton is concerned. Thank you. With no further business to come before this commission, this meeting is adjourned.